The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
All right, it's Monday, the 11th day of July, 2022. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, and Lindo's. I'm Jamal Hartman. She's Sancha Durham, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Sancha, how was your weekend?
I had a pretty good weekend. I'm feeling good today. Normally, I come out of the weekend like, oh my God, I'm so tired. But I had a pretty good weekend.
So
Yeah.
no gumbays or no motocross?
Yes, no, we actually we had prize giving on Saturday morning. Somerset Cricket Club had prize giving. That was nice. I learned a lot about Somerset and football and people that came up through the ranks and all that sort of stuff. We hung out by the pool on Saturday at Hamilton Princess. Went
Okay.
movies. We had like a real chill weekend.
Yeah, she doesn't have those often, folks.
No,
Proud to hear that. I didn't do much. I went to a comedy show, and they have these rules at comedy shows, Sandra, where basically you have to come on time. You can't come walking in late, and you can't hackle. And unfortunately, there were some people who missed that memo, and they almost got themselves kicked out. I was hoping they did, but yeah, you don't go there for people to interrupt your flow, man. You go there to enjoy a good show, and somebody just had to make noise and yeah. So against most people's wishes, they didn't kick them out, they just warned them. But it was a nice comedy show. I think I might audition one of these days.
I wouldn't be there.
You cheer me anyway. Greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. Another good one today as we discuss how we can make ourselves more marketable before focusing on what the government of Bermuda should consider privatizing to save money. That's always an interesting one. The daily play is more cup match trivia for the Somerset girl here. Some cup match trivia.
I'm a little confused, Jamal.
Why are you confused?
Here again today, I made sure I was very clear in my colors, very clear. But we look like we're supporting the same team.
No. What happened, Sandra? This is pink, folks. This is pink. And what happened was I actually did forget that I'm not supposed to be wearing anything close to.
Oh, you forgot again.
Yeah, I forgot.
Because just say you like red, Jamal. Just say you love.
Not in July.
And you're thinking of switching over because you're tired of being beat so many times and it's becoming humiliating.
There's some rumors that were floating and circulating some years ago that I was caught waving a Somerset flag some years ago at Somerset after they beat St. George's because I was tired of losing. Now, obviously, this footage no longer exists, but anyone who hears about that, just know that it's not true. It's not true. And what Sancha just said won't ever happen. I give St. George's 2 days of the year. 2 days. That's all I can say.
We feel we are very accepting.
Yeah.
To our side.
Ain't nobody want your acceptance. Ain't nobody want your acceptance. I don't know why Sherry better put some glasses on for that eye problem she's got. We're gonna leave that alone. But look, let's get into the conversation today. So Sancha, I thought you'd love this one. It's definitely up your alley, and something that I read LinkedIn a lot, and I'm always looking at young people, especially, but also as we grow older, we have to reinvent ourselves per se,
Mm-hmm.
at times. And I think the question is one that goes across all demographics, especially age, gender, and race and culture. So how can we make ourselves more marketable? And that's not just for jobs. It can honestly be just as individuals, like on a dating scene, right? Like, people might see this pretty or a handsome person, and be like, well, they don't seem friendly because they're to themselves. They seem introverted, right? But how do we go about making ourselves more marketable in life? I don't. I honestly wouldn't be able to answer this because I'm not a likable person per se.
You are. I think, you know what, Jamal? I think you do it without thinking.
Yeah, that's true.
I think you kind of have marketable aspects and
Hmm.
you kind of put yourself out there without thinking. Like one of the main things making yourself marketable is being able to network or putting yourself in a position of network. For me, it's times where I actually have to think about it. Like I know I like to be in my little hole in my house, and it's like sometimes I have to say, okay, Sandra, you need to actually get up, get out, and because I enjoy my me time, but you have to network, and once you're in that room, know how to work the room and who to talk to, and place yourself strategically at times if you know there's something specific that you're trying to gain from it. And I think that you do it without thinking.
Why? Thank you. I think that's a compliment. Well, I think putting yourself in position, what you just said, like networking, putting themselves in the room. Rick Olson says, interestingly enough, smile. Is it that easy, Rick? Is it that easy to make ourselves more marketable? And I'll put it to you, Rick Olson, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. If someone comes to you for a job, obviously it's a customer facing job. They may be the best at it, but whether they smile or not, does that matter to you? That's a question for Rick Olson specifically. How do you manage to make yourself more marketable, Sandra?
You know what? I've been through loads of phases. And through each phase, I have had to sit back and say, okay, where am I at now? And what do I have to do? And what's the most important part of what I'm doing? Right. Um, and I'm going through another phase, whereas for a long time it was about my businesses, it was about nail bar and how I make that better, and whatever event I was doing. But now I'm in a space where I'm doing or working on Sancha Dorm, the brand. And in order to make that more marketable, as you said to me the other day, Sancha, you need to work on your LinkedIn. Social media nowadays is a big part of it, and it's something that I need to work on. So I need to get into my Facebook posting more. I need to do my Instagram, your LinkedIn, it's a lot. It's almost like a second job, but
Mhm,
social media is a big part of it. But then also knowing where you sit, which
mhm,
pocket you sit in, because for some things, like especially when I interview people, I know I sound like I'm all over the place right now because so many thoughts are going through my head. But I interview people,
mhm,
I find that the older demographic, if I'm interviewing someone that's in like the 30s, they have Facebook, they're still posting on Facebook, they
mhm.
have Instagram. If I'm interviewing someone that is like in their late teens, they're doing Snapchat, they're doing
Talk.
TikTok, Twitter,
Mhm,
you know what I mean? So knowing where your pocket is, knowing what your brand is and where you're trying to market yourself, and once again, what you're getting out of it is
mhm,
very
mhm.
important, or what you're trying to get out of it is really important.
I think so. Basically, understanding the end goal, right? Understanding the purpose of, or no, what it is. What do they say? Understanding your why. That's it.
Mhm.
Understanding your why. But you make valid points. Different generations make themselves marketable in different ways. Is
Yeah.
there one specific way to try to make yourself marketable? Um, my way of doing it, honestly, Sanchez, is through my work, right? I'm a very challenging personality, competitive somewhat, but a lot of people don't take to that kindly. You know, some people find it defensive or aggressive, right? But for me is, you know, look, here I am, I'm delivering some results. This is my way of trying to make myself marketable. Like, how can, and I always look at it like, this is how I can help you, or this is how I've helped others, and this is what I can potentially do for you. That's how I've always looked at making myself marketable from a professional perspective, right? I don't know. What are your thoughts, audience? The question of the discussion this morning is, how can we make ourselves more marketable? Rick Olson says, absolutely smile along with professional appearance to be more welcoming, i.e. a competitive advantage in attracting and keeping customers. Well, let's talk about professional appearance, because we recently had Cordell Riley on from Curb, and we discussed this. What is a professional appearance? Is it still a suit and tie, or is it based on the job that you're doing? I said during that show that I don't care the occasion. I do not wear ties anymore. I mean, if I must, like, if you're really telling me, like, Jamal, please, this is, you know, it's to be in this atmosphere or this event, I would rather not, but I just don't wear ties. There's something for me as a Black male, and there's no history that I've read connecting this to, but it's something as a Black male, something around my neck that just doesn't fit well with me. It doesn't. It doesn't. That's me personally. That's not me saying there's this long historical tie back to this and that. So I'm not trying to send anyone anywhere. But what let's define professional appearance. Is it the general, like wearing a suit and tie, or is it based on the actual job that one is interested in?
I think it's the job that you're doing. You know what I mean? Because I'm in a lot of different roles, and our uniform, we just had this conversation at Scoops. Make sure you're in uniform. Our Scoops uniform, being professional within that realm, is making sure you have on your hat. You're clean. First thing you do when you look or you walk into a food establishment, you want to make sure that person looks clean, right? Because you're about to eat from them. So nails clean and shirt clean and, apron clean. So I think it's the industry that you're in. But you have some industries where it's like, you don't want that person to be in a suit and tie. And, if I'm going to my hairdresser and I'm looking for like the funkiest hairstyle, she better not, or he better not be in a suit and tie. That's not what I want. I'm looking for shoes and cool hair.
I know some barbershops that I've been to in the US is some barbers have to wear a there's things they put over their shirts to avoid hair getting on them. But I don't know what they're called. Are they not beards, but aprons? Yes. Thank you. You can tell my expertise is limited, but some have to wear aprons with like this barbershop name on them, and then you go to other barbershops. Some wear them with their own personal stuff. And the first time I've gone to a barbershop recently, a new barbershop, as my barber moved, he's the only one that wears an apron.
Yeah.
Right. And so I asked him, and he said every place has their own rules. So it was just interesting for him, based on him still wearing his own one. He finds a way that makes him more marketable to others. Like I take not saying I agree with this, but that's what he believes separates him from the other barbers in this new barbershop. He comes, he puts on his uniform, and he goes to work, whereas others just come in, the shirt that they're wearing outside, cutting their hair. So something like that can make you more marketable, believe it or not.
Yeah. Another point that I feel, which I'm sure, Jamal, you do, because the amount of people you tell me you talk to within a day, I'm like, I don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
But staying informed, keeping your finger on the pulse of what's going on in your industry is extremely important. And if you're staying informed, you are able to make moves before they even happen or before that time. You know what I mean? If you can kind of predict the weather of what's going on within your industry, just making sure you stay informed of what's going on before it actually, happens is always important.
Honestly, and I don't say this to knock Sancho's point back, but that can be stressful. Like literally, when it's like managing all your social media accounts. Like our brains are not wired for this. The amount of information that people feed you. I was never this person where I didn't respond to messages, but I have about 200 WhatsApp messages sitting because I just can't take so much information in at times. But she's right. Keeping your finger on the pulse, knowing what's going on, and I guess building that trust and rapport with people to the point where they're willing to have these discussions with you. Now,
Yeah.
you got to have a certain level of capacity for it. Like it's tough. It's really tough. But again, you've made yourself marketable to a point where you're a good listener, where you're able to communicate with people. Then you're going to get that information. Again, question of the morning, audience: how can we make ourselves more marketable? Sancha, I just want to ask this because you've done very well in terms of making yourself marketable beyond Bermuda, right? And I always say, one of my favorite quotes on this show is grow beyond our environment. And, I always tell people, when you can grow beyond the environment that you're used to, you've made it. You've made it. And how do you do that? I want to go back to one of the first points Sancha made is networking with the right people. Just talking to a cousin yesterday. She's going in her third year, University of Arizona, doing architecture, and just talking to her about how to network. I asked her, do you have LinkedIn? She said, no. Get on it now. Connect with your professors. Connect with, you're doing an internship right now. Connect with those on the job where you're doing your internship. Stay informed with industry trends and what's going on in that industry. But there's so many different things that interns during the summer you need to do to make yourself marketable.
Yeah. I think, what I had said on a previous show before, if you are the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room, right? And I stay true to that. If I am in a room, and a lot of times, like I say, entrepreneurship can be lonely. And if I am sitting in a room, whereas I feel like I'm constantly the smartest person, or I'm constantly driving that wheel, I need to find another room, whereas I can always be learning new things, be exposed to new things and people. Like, I make sure that I'm constantly aligning myself with people that are doing things that I have no clue about, right? And I'm constantly learning in that process. And I think that's very important, because you never know what can come out of that. You may think that you're making yourself marketable for one thing, and you realize, actually, should be doing this. So
I read an article. It was from like 2013 or 14. Nick DeRosa, who was working at firm on Southampton at the time, on the front door, and how, he was just doing his job, and the person he was doing it, helping, assisting, worked at Forbes and wanted to do an article on him. But that's making yourself marketable right there in that position. And who knows what doors things like that can open for you. Sean Smith, the question of the morning, folks: how can we make ourselves more marketable? Sean Smith says, this is the easiest comment here, folks. Be your authentic self. People want to know you. I don't think we know what authenticity is anymore, though. I don't.
We're coming back around to it, I feel like a younger generation are not going to pretend to be anything else. They are who they are. And it's like, take me how I am. I think we're coming back around to that. And that was another point I was going to say is, when I was in acting school, I used to go to Lee Strasberg Theater School. One of the things they used to tell me is, nobody's going to come and knock on your door and be like, hey, hi, you're so great, let me hire you. Don't be afraid to tell people who you are, what your story is, what you're doing, because a lot of times it's a difference between being cocky and actually being able to speak on something of who you are and being confident. Right. And sometimes people be like, oh, they don't want to talk about who they are because it makes them feel like, oh, I'm being no, you're not being cocky. If you can speak about it confidently, and this is who you are, then you're confident in who you are, and you have to let people know what it is that you are doing and what you want to do, so that nobody's going to come knocking to your door to say, do you need this opportunity? You have to put yourself out there to receive the opportunity. So.
Indeed. Now, folks, if you're lucky enough for someone to come knocking on your door looking for you, that means you've marketed yourself to a superior extent. And I guess what's those people called? Headhunters, right? I guess there are headhunters that look, but you got to be extreme. Teresa Marie says, effective communication, verbal, written, and body language. Yes, smiles and pleasant facial expressions too. I don't know about that because I don't smile much. I get the point. But I don't. if I'm used to you and I'm around you, I probably do smile, but I've been told I don't smile a lot. I think I do, but that, what I think and what I see it
I
to be.
think you're pleasant.
Okay. Thank you.
If you're in a room networking, I think you're pleasant. I think you're easy enough. I don't think you're going to be the guy in the room where it's like, don't talk to him. He looks mean.
Right.
I
I
think,
don't think I'm that person.
no, you're
You know,
not.
they,
No.
they say I don't smile. They call me these names like grumpy and all that stuff. Central. I want to give a shout out, and I will say, since we're talking about how we can make ourselves marketable, I think Maya's actually done a fantastic job of it. I want to say, of the many young Bermudians, I think that she has probably there could be a case study done on how she's been able to do it, utilizing her strengths. For instance, Instagram. And there are people that say, oh, well, what about people that's not on Instagram? No, she gets it. That's where who she's focused on, like who she's targeting, that's where they are. So I think she actually would be a good case study if one were ever done in terms of how to make yourself marketable. And then as we go, older, and I mean, I'm not calling you old, Sancha, but I'm just saying, like, when you were a guest on the show in December, I remember the feedback, and when you spoke about, it's one comment that stood out to a lot of people, how, though you've accomplished what you have, how you don't think any job's beneath you in terms of if you needed to go be someone's assistant or something, you do it. Like, that's making yourself marketable, right? Because despite the heights you've reached, people want understanding, wow, this person is willing to do what's necessary to get indoors and break down barriers. So just using you two as examples, like we have it here, like two examples of people who've made themselves marketable. So anything else on that?
I think you've covered it. I
I
mean,
get in trouble with Maya, she comes through whip, let's go to three more comments then. Michael Daniels and Karen Simmons for you.
Self-confidence is called arrogance. I feel like it can be separated though. But speak about what drives your passion, even if it goes against the grain. Authenticity and genuine of your purpose, confidence. Yeah.
Jerry Vanderpool says, yes, he is a brother, uncle. I know Maya and Sancha don't feel that way about me. Sherry goes on to say, I do believe Jamal is very passionate about what he believes in and his industry, and I think sometimes that gets missed. But whatever. Michelle White says, what COVID has shown us is that eye contact is important. Eyes can smile, show anxiety, doubt, or anger, control your eyes. But I think that's cultural. Because I've heard for years people speak about making eye contact, and I think it's cultural. I don't believe that someone not giving me eye contact is disrespectful or a bad thing or lack of confidence. It's where people are brought up. Like in certain cultures, it's actually disrespectful to look people in the eyes, right? So I don't know. I think it's a tough one for me to get on. And Rosalind Famous says, one key to networking is finding out how you can help the people you meet, the value you can bring to, and that goes right back to what I said at the beginning. I always look at how I can help those people that I come into contact with. Let's bring in Maya before we get in trouble. Good morning, Maya. How are you?
Oh, morning. I'm good.
Well, let's talk about it. You've got an opinion on this. What advice would you give to people, if any, of how they can make themselves more marketable?
My best advice, and I believe I probably got it years ago from a teacher, is to just take every opportunity that comes your way. Never say no and try to say yes to everything, no matter how small you might think it is. You never know who that person is or what connections they have, and yada yada. Just be open to every opportunity.
Hey, there you go, folks. Be open. Took me back to my pot washing days at Lobster Pot. But look, it's not about me, it's about you. Maya, let's get to the news break. And then, folks, after the break, we want to talk about very interesting yet controversial topic when it comes to Bermuda. We're going to talk about what the government should consider privatizing. Obviously, the government quarry, there was an RFP out for it last week. And that's interesting in itself because no union, no one's really come out about it. And I could tell you there would be a parade, unions and all, if this was the One Bermuda Alliance. But we'll get into that after the break. Also, I had to go off on some idiots on Facebook this morning. I guess most of you were wondering why I didn't touch on that, but I'll speak to you about that. Yeah, I said idiots. Over to you, Maya.
doing all sorts.
All right. Thank you, Jamala and Sancha. And thank you, everyone tuned in with us today. And as always, thank you for making the Daily Hour part of your daily routine. I'm Maya Palacio, and this is the Daily Hour News Break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Happy 410th birthday, St. George's. On July 11, 1612, English settlers arrived in Bermuda on a ship called the Plough and established the town of St. George. Today, Monday, July 11th, is Plough Day, and the town of St. George's will kick off their Heritage Festival series, which will be held on Monday and Thursday afternoons throughout the summer. Highlights of July 11th Plough Day event include free access to historic sites between 12 and 4 p.m., and donations are always welcomed. Special presentations at Bermuda National Trust Globe Hotel Museum by visiting author and archaeologist Dr. Michael Jarvis. The Royal Connection Tour at Their Majesty's Chapel, St. Peter's Church. Musicians, artists, and tarot readings, special activities at stores and restaurants, and so much more. So if you have the time today, drive down to St. George's, celebrate, shop, and learn a lot about Bermuda's history. Continuing on with history of Bermuda, as Emancipation Day is upon us, it's a strong reminder to find out more about your family's history. The National Museum of Bermuda recently sent a press release about Welch's edition of A Narrative of Benjamin Benson, an Enslaved Man in Bermuda, which exposes aspects of slavery in Bermuda that are little documented, like branding, the mass sales to America on the eve of emancipation in Bermuda, and arbitrary cruelty. The article talks about Benjamin Benson and his experiences at the hand of those men and women who forcefully enslaved Black people in Bermuda. The article details Dr. Neil Kennedy's recent groundbreaking research on an overlooked and long-lost freedom narrative written by a Bermudian man named Benjamin Benson in 1847. One important factor that came from the article mentions that Benson's mother and father had 21 children who were sold and forcibly enslaved to places like Georgia, North Carolina, New York, and Trinidad. This particular account of just one family further enhances the multiculturalism of Black Bermudians and our disconnect with our own heritage and families. There are many untold stories of slavery in Bermuda, and recorded research like this helps to explain why and where we are today as a people. In other news, did you know that as of April 13th this year, there are 31 unsolved murders in Bermuda since 2016? And this is according to an interview I had with the police commissioner, Darren Simmons, back in April. July 9th of 2022 marked the 10th year anniversary that Rudy Smith went missing. Rudy was reported missing by family and friends on the 9th of July in 2012. And at that time, his disappearance was suspicious and police investigations were commenced. As a result of those initial police investigations, Rudy Smith's disappearance became a murder investigation. This murder investigation remains active, and police have identified a number of persons of interest to this inquiry. Police say that there are numbers of people who witness activities in and around Parsons Road, Deepdale area that can assist in bringing closure to Rudy's family and bring people to justice. They are appealing to members of the community that have information on the disappearance and murder of Rudy Smith make contact with the Senior Investigating Officer, ADI, Jason Smith, on 717-0864 or email jsmith2@bps.bm. Or anonymously, you can contact Crime Stoppers hotline at 800-8477. Rudy Smith might be gone, but he is not forgotten, and you can be a part of ensuring justice is served. And now let's take a look at today's weather. It's sunny periods with the likelihood of a couple of passing showers. Winds southwesterly moderate to strong with gusts strong and around any showers. And finally, we have a high near 85 degrees Fahrenheit today, so it's going to be hot. And that's all for me. I'm Maya Palacio for the Daily Hour News Break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. And now back to Jamal and Sancha for today's Daily Focus.
Thank you so much for that, Maya. Sancha, I know you've got a day of the year. Give it to us. Give it to us.
I do. Today is International Town Criers Day.
Oh, think about what's his? Don't tell me he was on last year.
Ed Christopher.
Ed Christopher, yeah.
When I saw it, I thought of him. I'm like, that man's energy is amazing. I don't know how he does it. Yeah. But today is Town Criers Day. So in olden times, when few people were literate and there were little access to printed media, town criers were the central part of urban living. Town criers were responsible for keeping the town up to date with latest news and events, and even passed information down from the ruling classes to the wider population. But due to digital media now, town crier is somewhat redundant. So this day is here to basically encourage people to take on the role of town crier in their city or their town. I wonder if there's any younger people coming through the ranks to take over from Mr. Christopher.
I don't know, but I know one thing. I think Bermuda, if Mr. Christopher, has the only town crier that knows how to dance gun bass. I'll say that.
Hey.
I think so. I think so.
Maybe a requirement.
You should put out there, anyone that they're willing to be the protege to Mr. Christopher. We need to make sure we have someone coming through with that kind of energy, because I know who doesn't.
Yeah, that's the historic thing that he's doing. Actually, his energy is very infectious as well. It's impressive because his voice is very strong.
Hear ye. Yeah, he's different. Maya, thank you so much, and we will see you soon.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right. My pleasure, folks. All right, folks. So real quickly, idiots. Look.
Oh, gosh. Let's have it, Jamal. I haven't seen it.
Let's go. So there are these black men on social media who always decide to. Now, let's just be clear. 4 years ago, last week, I think it was, conscription ended in Bermuda. Mm-hmm. And every now and then there's these middle-aged black men, some who have, beaten their wives, but we'll leave that anyway. But we have these middle-aged black men who decide to look at what's going on in Bermuda and say, the problem with Bermuda is we got rid of conscription. And it's puzzling to me how we can always turn to conscription, knowing that at the heights of the murders in Bermuda, when the height of gun murder in Bermuda, conscription existed in its worst state. So my message to those idiots, because you're an idiot. That's my opinion. You're an idiot, right? Is slavery in Bermuda, Sancha. Slavery in Bermuda was good. It not only kept enslaved people employed, it also provided room and board, eliminating homelessness. Furthermore, it kept dogs off the streets, and it saved our black men while teaching them skills from the field to the house. That's how stupid you sound when trying to justify conscription in 2022. What's even more crazy is that conscription, as I just mentioned, existed when Bermuda experienced the height of its murders. But I digress. The reason I feel the need to address that is because normally I'd scroll on by. Normally I'd ignore it. But at some point we have to address that which is not accurate, that which is harmful to our own being. And you can't go around putting your hands on women thinking that you are a voice of moral authority. Let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll speak about the government issues. Yeah, we'll talk about privatization. Stick with us, folks.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Hi, I'm Karen, a nurse at the old folks home. These long hours used to kill my feet until my hairdresser told me about a great place to buy a pair of clogs. Medical House. Finally, relief. They also carry uniforms in bright, bold colors. And not to mention the support stockings.
Karen, Miss Soltis bet her bet again.
Oh gosh, these days, I need all the support I can get.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendy Town Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
All righty, welcome back to the big show. Central Durham, I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House One Communications, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, if you haven't already, make sure you are subscribed on our website so you don't miss a chance for updates, prizes, promotions, and more. Also, if you're on the go and you can't watch, that's okay. Download the BCG Radio app. You can hear us every time we go live. Apps available on Android and Apple devices, so no excuse not to listen in and tune in. So, Sandra, there was something out last week, an RFP for the government quarry, right? And for years, people have been talking about privatizing the mail or the buses and this and that. Instead of privatizing the mail, it looks like the government's now in the mail business with something called MyPost. I think it's MyPost or something like that. But that said, government doesn't really have any money to keep paying people, right? The debt's swelling. They need, we can't continue to borrow to pay. And I think a serious conversation needs to be had, Sancha, as to what should the government consider? What do they need to consider to privatize so that, they have less expenses? It's easy to say, well, they're going to lose income, but it's the expense side. Like, what are your thoughts, folks? What do you believe? That's the question. What should the government of Bermuda consider privatizing to save money? What comes to your mind first, Sancha?
I get concerned when we talk about this government privatizing anything.
Because it might go to a friend or family, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? I can't even say to go to friends and family. Let's look at, you know what? Let's look at works in engineering, right? When we look at the jobs and the RFPs that are given out through works in engineering, a lot of them are the smaller jobs. Who do the smaller jobs go to? Like they feel like they're feeding our community, and they always go to the Black contractors, right? And I've said this before. And they make us feel like, oh, we're providing work within the community, but we're only paving a road or fixing a school. When we talk about the really big contracts, which are going to make a difference within our, with our economy and our, our country, they go to
specific people.
Jamal?
Specific people. I'll say specific people. No, I get it. I get it.
So,
and it is
if we're talking about privatizing, I can't even get a word out. If we're talking about privatizing, who do you think is going to benefit from privatizing? I don't think it's our Black community, even though we have a government. So I don't know. I think that some industries should be privatized because even the way that government is ran, it's not efficient. Yeah. We're talking about that needs to be paid off, and if government was ran a little different, but in privatizing, I think that we're only going to stunt our Black community even more. I had said, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think, you make a valid point. I think one of the challenges I used to see people speaking about privatization a lot, as you mentioned, the Black community, was with privatization. Let's use the bus, for example. If they were to privatize public transportation, people already feel like bus fare is expensive. Well, a private company, the main goal of a private company is to make a profit. And so they're obviously going to do their pricing based on how they're able to leverage and make a profit. So I know a concern was, well, if they privatize it, it's going to be more unaffordable. I don't know what to say, Sancha. I'm literally speechless. I don't know.
They say,
go ahead.
They say once one of the main aims of privatizing is to boost the economy. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. That's what they say, is to boost the economy. I think there's a couple of challenges with privatizing companies in Bermuda. Number one is what you said, who the contract go to. Now, I know people are saying, well, it's an RFP process. We've seen how these processes go before. There's the proofs in the pudding, right? We've seen how this is going before. The second thing is the cost of the people using these services to the people using these services. Is it going to be so bad that, you know, we're going to price the people who need these services most out of the option to utilize them? What are your thoughts, audience? What should the government of Bermuda consider privatizing? And then also, what are your concerns about privatizing? I don't know much about like the government quarry, right? I don't know. Like that's not my I can probably speak more to you about the public transport or maybe the mail service. But it's tough because private companies dominate mail. You know what I mean? Let's use Amazon, for instance, right? Amazon, if I'm not mistaken, they started off using other companies, right? Be it FedEx or UPS or even General Mail. Now they have their own people, right? Like they have the Amazon trucks that deliver it. They have people, they give people a stipend, they have their own trucks and they deliver it. So that's a private company that did everything themselves to eliminate a third party. Did it lower costs? I don't know. I think, you know, it gives people the option to get Prime, and Prime's what, a day or two, something like that. Private companies have dominated the mail space. Now, the other thing that's hurt mail is that a lot of people do, online, like paperless, right? A lot of people do paperless. And then with email 20, 30 years ago, people they don't do it like they used to, send like cards like they used to overseas and back and forth. Like they'll just send an email, happy birthday, or go on somebody's Facebook page and say happy birthday to them, right? So things have changed. So I think we need to really figure out the need for the services like that. Is there a need like there was before? Go ahead, Sam. Sorry.
Also, another concern, obviously you can tell I have loads of concerns with this. How far is the government actually willing to let go once you privatize? You know what I mean? Are they going to continue to have a hold on that company to a certain degree to keep, you know how we feel about the BTA and, you know, how much is the government actually willing to let go?
Yeah.
I think yeah.
You just made me think that if something were being privatized by a government, they would still have, someone in the government will have to have some sort of control. I get you. Let's go to the comments. What should the government of Bermuda consider privatizing to save money? Sam Cat Place says, I don't believe privatizing is the answer. They need to address the inefficiencies that exist in far too many departments that are managed by friends and family. Start there and results will be seen. Mark Arthur C. Phillips, he says, if this is the case, they should make sure all staff will have the same benefits that they have now. All staff should be able to have union membership and the like. Want to address either of those comments, Sanjay?
Okay. Definitely, I had mentioned that the efficiency of government. There are so many things that I look at. I'm like, if I ran my business this way, the amount of money that I would be losing, it's unheard of. And if we just pull back a little bit and maybe we should get some entrepreneurs coming into government, you know, helping to run departments. You know, there are a lot of inefficiencies that could be corrected, saving us tons of money. Tons of money.
I think I agree with you in terms of entrepreneurs, because again, a government like an elected government that lacks skin in the game, and then if they're being, you know, advised by people with no skin in the game, it's a disaster. So I think bringing entrepreneurs into spaces can only be a good thing. But I think many people would agree with you, Sam Cat Place, that we need to address the inefficiencies. But how is that possible, knowing that people get in these spaces and they stay forever, right? That's one of the biggest concerns. I want to touch on Mark's comment about all staff should be able to have union membership and the like. Look, let me say this. I am totally for unions, right? I believe unions have a place. Unions have created a space for a fair working place that when you go through the history. I will say this though, when you treat people well, they don't even think about a union. So instead of thinking that we need to be unionized, we need to think about treating people like great employer-employee relationship should be. That's what our focus needs to be. Now, as far as the first part of Mark Arthur C. Phillips' comment, he says, if this is the case, they should make sure all the staff will have the same benefits they have now. Sometimes when companies go private, they get better benefits. Now, obviously, the pay may not be as great, right? But you can't dictate to a private entity. That's the sad thing. Like if you're putting out an RFP process and they've agreed to keep the staff on, you really can't dictate to a private entity that, again, keep in mind, a private entity is not a government. They are there and they have one purpose. Remember what Sandra just said. If she ran her businesses, if anybody ran their businesses like this government is run, they'd be out of business, right? It'd be done. So to run efficiently, you can't expect a private company to do the same things that a government's doing, which is, and I be careful. I have a lot of respect for public civil servants, so I'm not going to sit here and say they're bad employees, but you cannot hold on to people for the sake of holding on to them in private entities. Yeah. In a private entity, you have to do what's necessary to keep that business going so that you can keep everybody employed. You can keep the business going. You can generate revenue and make a profit from it.
Yeah.
So there's the
Let me go back and touch on the whole unions scare me. You know, I know some people would come at my neck for this, but as you said, Jamal, if you're treating your employees well, there's no need for unions. And I know whenever there is like a strike or the union is, sometimes I'm just like, again? Like sometimes I feel as if we're not looking at the bigger picture. It tends to be a little one-sided, you know, even when we're talking about the bus drivers, I'm just like, we're going to strike again. Really? Is anyone looking at the big picture here? So unions, they scare me. And if someone is telling me that it can be privatized, but they should still be able to be a part of a union, I'm not sure you're going to get the same results, you know?
Well, I would disagree on this. I have no problem with strikes. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't. However, my issue comes with what the strike is about. You can't.
A lot of times I see times where it's just not warranted. I'm like, we could have gotten through this without the strike.
Well, I mean, you can't gain the confidence of the general public, the overall public, if you're kind of going to march for a drunk ferry pilot. You get what I'm saying? So I think those are the kind of things that rub people the wrong way with it. But I do believe, now, I'll use the case of the Bermuda Tourism Authority. I thought the organization was outright evil. I think when staff wanted to unionize, I believe that they done things that to ensure the staff wouldn't unionize. Now, why would staff want to unionize? Because they don't have confidence in the leadership of an organization. But again, if people are treated well and the focus is a great employer-employee relationship, nobody's going to be looking toward that. They're going to be like, oh no, we get paid well, we get good time off, benefits, and we're allowed to do our jobs to the best, and we're delivering results. But when that's not happening, that's when people tend to look that way. You know, let's go back to, we've got some comments. What should the government of Bermuda consider privatizing to save money? Sean Smith-Finch.
Privatization doesn't necessarily make the service or product better, but better. The bus service out here is private, and the service is no better than in Bermuda.
Where are you? Yeah, where are you where you're saying the bus service out here is private and the service is no better than Bermuda? Well, Sean Smith, it's not about whether the service or product is better. That's not the point. The point of the question is about saving the government money. At the end of the day, the government at this point, needs to find a way to save money. So it's not a matter, again, of the service being better than what exists right now. It's literally about cost. That's where we're at because it's been run so poorly. Sam Cat Place says, Sanchez, right? Maybe we need some successful entrepreneurs come in to help pull apart some of these departments to look at the weak links. That may be the answer. You know, I completely agree with you guys on that. The challenge is Who's going to give up their power that they have in there to allow someone to come in and tell them what to do?
Yeah.
That's the challenge. Like, I mean, it's not easy. And then if these entrepreneurs go in there, are they going to get so frustrated with what's going on that they're going to give up and be like, the hell with it? Look, let's just look at what happened in over in the East this morning. Manchester United's got this new manager, and he states that Harry Maguire is going to remain the captain. Well, folks, he went on to say he's been successful. I liken Harry Maguire to David Burt's leadership. Seriously. The only difference is David Burt won a championship because he won 2 elections. Well, he didn't, but he was the leader when they did. It's like the captain of Liverpool. Liverpool won the Champions League. Jordan Henderson's the captain. He lifts the trophy. He didn't do much. But my point is, folks, we need better. And the truth is, the elected officials are not the only ones that we need to be looking at when it comes to running a more efficient government. There are people with high paying positions in there. What are those people called? The permanent secretaries and the cabinet secretaries, and then they have the directors, and I mean, there's so many different titles. And they make some good money.
I've seen, this is, one of the things I've seen or heard. Have you ever talked to someone in government that says they have to take their vacation and then they're on vacation for like 6 months because they had to take the vacation?
Oh, it's poorly managed.
Where does that happen?
Poorly managed.
How do you, yeah.
It's poorly managed. Like I can only, in my last 2 jobs in the US, or 3, I could only carry, I think, 5 days over to the next year or something. But even that, like in Bermuda, like that vacation thing where you got people that's carrying, like, how, that's poor management. How are you running an efficient government?
I was just gonna say, it's not efficient.
Like it's so but simple thing, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's a perfect example of how poorly things are run. But saying that, folks, the government of Bermuda needs to find some way, somehow. They need to save money, Sancha. They have no money.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've got to take a break, wrap it up, and come back to Sancha's favorite part of the show, the Daily Play. But folks, before we go, have you registered to be part of the exclusive TDH community yet? If not, the first events are taking place on July 21st and 22nd. So sign up today so you don't miss a chance to enjoy the benefits of activities and events that we'll have going on throughout the year. Go to our website, thedailyhour.com, and you'll click register right on the homepage. All righty, you want to hang out with us? We want to hang out with you. Well, Sancha, Sherry, and the others do. We're going to take a quick break and be back to wrap this up. Do not go anywhere.
A lot happens around your home. That is why at One Communications, we have introduced affordable security and video monitoring, because everyone should be able to afford to protect their family. Anytime, from anywhere, One Home Security keeps you connected and puts security in your hands with an easy-to-use smartphone app to control everything. Home security is important to keep you and your family safe. Motion-activated cameras around your home and security monitoring within create a complete security system providing protection both inside and outside your home. Professional monitoring means that there's someone on call with 24/7 protection to notify the authorities and help keep you and your loved ones safe. We are dedicated to whole home protection with indoor and outdoor cameras, smart door locks, motion sensors, and more, so you'll always be connected to what matters most. With professional installation, no upfront hardware fees, and low monthly rates, because keeping your family safe should be affordable for everyone. Total home video monitoring and security. There's no better way to protect your home than with One Home Security.
I'm part of the SSCP, giving us opportunities to go out and sell, which is what I'm doing today.
One of the most important things I learned in the SSCP is that failure is just a part of being an entrepreneur.
As a vote community, then you can't go anywhere, can you?
I just believe it's a really beautiful and amazing experience for everybody.
A lot of late nights being up, trying to finalize things, especially for me. You don't have to do everything at once. Little steps is the key to success.
They helped me go through every step of the way.
It has helped me gain more confidence, so that's one thing.
I'm Marley Spriggs, and I am an entrepreneur.
My name is Joshua Allen, and I am an entrepreneur.
My name is Trey Robertson Richards, and I am an entrepreneur.
My name is Namira Rayner, and I am an entrepreneur.
My name is Vincent Darrow, and I am an entrepreneur.
I'm Shayla Swan, and I'm an entrepreneur.
I am Sophia Paxenhan. I am an entrepreneur.
My name is Zion, and I'm a young entrepreneur.
All right. Thanks again to One Communications, Medical House Lenders, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. Folks, if you appreciated this discussion and the topic this morning, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you're sharing these conversations, having these discussions with your people at work, your people at home, the family barbecue, and even during those ridiculous arguments with Somerset fans. Yeah, those ridiculous people. Time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Heineken 0.0. Great taste, no alcohol. And Bermuda Trivia. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. So find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Sancha, are you ready?
I'm going to buy this game so that I can get better at these questions.
All right. Here we go. It's Cup Match today. All right.
Okay.
I think this is an easy one.
Okay.
Who has claimed the most wickets in Cup Match history?
Gennaro Tucker.
Let me start this music.
No. Okay. No, that's the most runs. Maybe Gennaro's the most runs. I don't know. What's his name? Adams?
No one knows the answer to this. Interesting. Without Googling, who has claimed the most wickets in Cup Match history? Nope, it's not cousin Noel Gibbons. It is not. No one's gotten the answer. Interesting. Google, folks. Google. You know what? I'll just give the answer. The answer is obviously he's a St. George's player. Clarence Parfitt. Clarence Parfitt. Oh, people started saying it.
That's why we don't know, because he's a St. George's player.
Really?
We don't know.
That's what we're doing. No, it wasn't Charlie Marshall. But yeah, it was Clarence Parfitt. Clarence
They
Parfitt.
haven't won very often, so yeah.
In my lifetime, St. George's had the most. So that's all I'm saying. In my lifetime, we had the cup the most. What's that?
Recently.
No, I didn't say recently. We've had in my lifetime. I said in my lifetime.
Times have changed, Yeah. You guys have work to do.
Yeah. Anyway, final thoughts on today's show. What you thinking, Sancha?
Today's been a good show. I love having these discussions with you, Jamal. Obviously, branding and making yourself marketable is obviously important in whatever industry you're in, whether it's you looking for a new job and, making sure your resume speaks to who you are and what you've done, or you branding yourself as a person, as your person.
I think we lost you, Sancha.
Didn't mention is mentors.
Sancha, you there?
Having a great mentor is always a good idea. Jamal, I'm having a rough time with my Wi-Fi today.
Yeah, you're going in and out now. It just did that. It just did that. But we'll wrap it up. But
Okay.
let me just say
to you.
Yeah, what I'll say is making ourselves more marketable. Folks, sometimes it just means putting yourself out there. Developing the right relationships. And I say the term right is know what you want to do, know what the end goal is for yourself, and focus on putting yourself in certain spaces. It makes no sense if putting yourself in spaces that are not going to be helpful to you. Now, as far as privatization, and I just want to go back because we did ask Sean Smith. He says, when he said out here the bus service is no better, he said he's in Portugal. Thank you, Sean Smith. He's in Portugal. But I'm not saying privatization is the answer. But at the end of the day, we have an inefficient government. And when I say government overall, the government needs to cut costs somehow. They do. And I'm not quite sure. I don't know what Bermuda's going to look like in another 5, 10, 15, 20 years. But it can't continue. It can't continue to go the way it's going. And so we need to be wise in terms of how we go about it. And this is not to say all government employees are bad, Sandra. That's not what either of us have said today. This is not to say that the government is all bad. This is literally to just state the obvious. And the obvious is that we need to find a way to cut government cost. How do we do that? We know that things are going up, price of groceries and gas eventually, and rents and homes. We know it's tough on individuals, but some things are not sustainable. And the way our government's currently borrowing is not sustainable. Sanji, you've got some daily inspiration for us?
I do, Jamal, if my Wi-Fi is going to be great. This one really touched home for me. True forgiveness is when you can say thank you for that experience. Like, that's deep. A lot of people look at it like, you can't, when you can say to somebody, thank you for that experience and move on and learn from it. And that's by Oprah Winfrey.
I like that one. Thank you for the experience. Yeah, I'll get there one day. Getting angry at people that piss me off. Just say, you know what? Thank you.
I think I'm there. Like, I finally think after 42 years, I feel like I'm there.
Educate me. Help me get there, Sandra. help me get there. We got to lean on each other. Your temperament's much better than mine. Anyway, folks, thanks again to our partners, Medical House One Communications, Linda. Oops, actually, you know what? You know what, Sandra? We're giving away we're not going to go yet. We're going to give away a cup match towel. Folks, we have cup match towels.
Somerset, burp, burp.
Let's get, yes, we have them in Somerset colors. We're going to do a giveaway this morning. Let's give away, and the hashtag is going to be cup match. Cup match. That's what we're going to do. Cup match giveaway that's what we're going to do. Hashtag cup match for a cup match towel in your color.
I should say, do they get to choose?
Yeah, you could guess. I mean, I would rather give out St. George's. We don't want all this littering all over the island and whatnot. But we'll do a giveaway. We'll stay here an extra. Just hashtag cup match for your chance to win a cup match towel. Folks, we're gonna give away some cup match stuff every day leading up to cup match from today. Sandra, real quickly. So I want to say, since we're waiting on them, right?
Yeah.
So there was a tweet that went out by our social media manager, right?
Yeah.
And let's go to it. Our social media manager sent out a tweet. Bermeems must ask, type my cup match team is and let the predictive text do the rest.
Wait. The Daily Hours Twitter was hacked.
Oh, that's what happened? Okay, it was hacked.
Yes.
Well, Sancha decided to respond to the Daily Hour Twitter, folks, and she said, letting everyone know that the Daily Hour Twitter page was obviously hacked. It's obviously been hacked. Everyone on the team is extremely intelligent and sensible. We would never support such a losing team. On behalf of TDH community, I would like to officially state that we support Somerset. Yes. Well, brother Phil, let everyone know that Sancha replied to a Nigerian lottery email, and so her account is actually the one that got hacked. We at the Daily Hour are unified behind the blue and blue. Well, folks, it's a fight. It's a fight. We're having some infighting. But what I will say is it wasn't hacked. I want to credit our social media manager on ensuring that we are expressing the right sentiments this time.
But Jamal, we live in a place of social media of likes and all of those things, right? Who got the most likes on their comment?
You know what, Sancha? Let's do this giveaway. Let's do this giveaway. We got to give away. Hopefully it's a St. George's fan. Let's do it. Here we go, folks. Here we go. Big money. St. George's.
Somerset.
Valerie Lee. Valerie, congratulations. Please tell me you're a St. George's fan.
Come on, Valerie.
Valerie,
make me proud.
Please send an email to engage@thedailyhour marketable.com. And let us know who your team is so that we can get you your towel. But please let us know before we head out that you are a St. George's fan. Congrats again to Valerie Lee. Yeah, okay. This time I'm serious. Sanji, you want to say anything else on Cop Match?
Somerset's going to win, as usual, and
All
you're
right.
going to cry.
All
I'll
right.
be there to wipe your tears with your towel.
Okay, well, Valerie's got a St. George's towel coming her way. St. George's, look, every day we give it, we're going to take scores. So St. George's is up 1. We got one run.
Valerie's going to need that towel for her tears.
All right. Whatever. Thanks again to our partners, Medical House One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She is Sandra Durham. I'm Jamel Hartman. My friends, please do make it a safe and great day. St. George's, the cop's coming home in a few weeks.
That's why you're wearing red.
It's pink.